Hey YouTube, Twig here, bringing you all an update to my Starry Night Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile for February 2025. This is a very interesting Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck that was released during the Ghost from the Past booster set. This deck focuses on utilizing the lower level Fairy level 4 Starry Night monsters to be able to then summon out our level 7 Light Dragon monsters, or our big go-to boss monsters, Starry Night, Starry Dragon, to make use of taking care of our opponent's dark attribute type monsters, and also limiting what they could do with those monsters on the field. This is a very fun deck, a very control playstyle type of deck, I would say, but still one that has received some support throughout some of the other booster sets. Hasn't seen any support lately, but you never know. There could be that chance that after I make this video, we see more support for the Starry Night deck. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profiles. We'll go ahead and start off with our boss monster of the deck. Now, I am running 2 copies of Starry Night, Starry Dragon, and the 1 copy of Sayaru as a placeholder for a 3rd copy. With this card, if it's normal or special summon from the hand, you can target 1 card on the field, destroy it, cannot be destroyed by battle with dark monsters or dark monster effects, and once per turn at the start of damage step, if this card attacks a opponent's monster, you can banish that monster until the end phase, and then this card can make a 2nd attack in a row. So being able to take care of that opponent's monster, having an additional attack after that, making it for the direct damage or into another monster of your opponent is good for the overall setup, and then just the initial destruction as well that you can make use of with this card. So a definite good boss monster to make use of with your Starry Night monsters. For the actual Starry Night monsters, we are also running 3 copies of Starry Night Rael. When it's normal summon, you can add 1 Starry Night spell or trap from your deck to your hand. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 Starry Night monster in your graveyard, except for Starry Night Rael, and special summon it. You can only use each effect of Rael once per turn, but having a search power for the lower number of Starry Night spell and traps we run in the deck, and then also just that setup of being able to banish this card from your graveyard to then special summon another Starry Night monster from our graveyard onto the field, just keeps the resources consistently going on the field. We're also running 3 copies of Starry Night Orbital. With this card, quick effect, you can target 1 light monster you control, tribute it, and if you do, set 1 Starry Night spell or trap directly from your deck. If a face-up level 7 light dragon monster you control returns to the hand while this card's in your graveyard, you can special summon this card. You can use each effect of Orbital once per turn. So this is just another consistent resource use with our bigger boss monster, Starry Night, Starry Dragon, to then have that boss monster bounce back, setting up this monster on the field, and then having that tribute option for a light monster to set a Starry Night spell or trap, which we run a good number of in the deck as well as that added setup using this card. Some lower numbers for the Starry Night monsters include 2 copies of Starry Night Estelle. Quick effect, you can target 1 light monster you control, tribute it. If you do, special summon 1 level 7 light dragon from your hand. You could banish this card from your graveyard and then target 1 level 7 light dragon monster you control. It gains 1,000 attack to the end of your opponent's next turn. You can only use each effect of Estelle once per turn, but having a 3,500 attack point Starry Night, Starry Dragon is much better to go up against your opponent's cards, but also being able to use a quick effect to get out Starry Dragon onto the field. It basically means for the target of the card you control, which means you can also target Estelle itself, and then special summon out the Starry Dragon, interrupting your opponent's plays with the destruction effect of your Starry Dragon also. The lower numbers include the 1 of copies of Starry Night CL and the 1 copy of Starry Night Flamel. With these cards, when opponent's monster declares an attack, you can send Flamel from your hand or face on the field of the graveyard, special summon 1 level 7 Light Dragon monster from your hand, and you can banish this card from your graveyard, target a level 7 Light Dragon monster you control, or in your graveyard, return it to the hand. Having the bounce power needed with Flamel is what can return it to set up with some of our other Starry Night monsters, including our Starry Night Orbital. And using Starry Night CL, with this card, if it's in your hand, you can return 1 Starry Night monster or 1 level 7 Light Dragon you control to the hand, except for CL. Special summon this card. If you control no monsters, you can banish this card from your graveyard, special summon 1 level 7 Light Dragon from your hand. Just all consistent different ways to special summon out your Starry Night, Starry Dragon, but still, these are a little more specific, resources to use. That's why we're running 1 of copies of these 2 monsters. And then also, since these are light fairy monsters, aside from Starry Night, Starry Dragon, one copy of Barrier Statue of the Heavens. Being able to summon out this fairy monster in turn with some of our other Starry Night monsters with cards like Ties of the Brethren can be the setup we need to not only restrict our opponent with monsters that they may summon out, but then set up our Starry Night monsters to then use on the following turn with the tribute plays for Starry Night, Starry Dragon. And also for our hand trap lineup, 3 copies of Honest, just another light fairy monster monster that can ideally be summoned off of Ties of the Brethren, bounced back to our hand, and then made use of when our opponent tries to attack into our Starry Night monsters. And the 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, just more restriction for what we can use against our opponent to stop their graveyard setup or searching out specific cards. For the spells, we run 2 copies of Starry Night Balefire. Add 1 Starry Night monster or 1 level 7 light dragon monster from your deck to your hand. Then if you control no monsters and your opponent controls a dark monster, you can special summon 1 level 7 light dragon from your hand. You go and activate 1 Starry Night Balefire per turn, but this is the added setup if your opponent has that dark attribute monster to then be able to get out your bigger boss monster and after you add it to your hand. And then also if you control none of those monsters, just being an additional setup. We run 2 copies of this card because it can be searched and set up quite easily with our other Starry Night monsters, including the option for the tribute to set the additional card. Tributing that card gives us no monsters on the field to then be able to summon out our Starry Dragon also. And then for the field spell, 2 copies of Starry Night Sky. During your main phase, you can normal summon 1 Starry Night monster or 1 level 7 light dragon in addition to your normal summoner set. You go and gain this effect once per turn, and during your turn, if a face-up level 7 light dragon monster you control returns to the hand, you can draw 1 card. So it's just more setup for this field spell, being able to give you draw power on top of the main engine mechanic setup of what the deck is meant to do with your level 7 light dragon. And also the one of the continuous spells, Starry Night Ceremony. During your main phase, you can reveal 1 light fairy monster in your hand, add 1 level 7 light dragon monster from your deck to your hand, then place the revealed monster on the bottom of the deck, just setting up and searching for more use of your Starry Night Starry Dragon. If your opponent activates a card or effect, you can special summon 1 level 7 light dragon monster from your hand. You can only use 1 Starry Night Ceremony effect per turn, and only once that turn. So whether you have that special summon setup as well, when you use it on your opponent's turn for the summon of your dragon, or just the setup on your own turn to be able to add that card. If you wanted to run more additional copies of this card, you can drop some of the other one-ofs that I run, including the 1 copy of Terraforming and the 1 copy of Call by the Grave for additional copies of this continuous spell. This is one that, like I said, is searchable, and then you have this continuous spell set up. That's why I wanted to at least give an option to use the 1 of tech. If not, you can increase the number by dropping the Terraforming and the Call by the Grave from the deck as well. We're also running 3 copies of Ties of the Brethren, just being able to pay 2,000, target a level 4 monster you control, and then also special summon 2 monsters from your deck with the same attribute and level. So if you get your Starry Night search using this card, let's say you have your Rael, to then add a Starry Night spell or trap from your deck to your hand, you can then go for that added search of your additional monster, or adding the Starry Night Starry Sky. Use Ties of the Brethren, which is going to be used to give you an additional Starry Night monster, or the Honest and Barrier Statue play on the field as well, having the restriction for your opponent to only summoning light monsters, and then being able to bounce the Honest back to your hand to then use with your Starry Night monster or your Barrier Statue on the field also. And then lastly for the spells, 1 copy of Pot of Prosperity and the 1 Monster Reborn, just for added special summon power, and the search for specific cards in the deck using Prosperity and turn for our extra deck cards. For the traps, I run 1 copy of Starry Night Arrival and 1 copy of Starry Night Blast. When your opponent activates a card or effect, return 1 level 7 light dragon you control to the hand, negate that effect, and destroy that card. You can activate 1 Starry Night Blast once per turn, and Starry Night Arrival being another continuous trap. During the main phase, you can target a level 7 light monster you control, return to the hand, or special summon 1 from your hand, having the back and forth with these cards so that it can once again also just be searched off of our Starry Night cards we run in the deck, with the last of the traps being the 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence, the 2 copies of Solemn Strike, and then the 1 copy of Goes and Match, since the majority of monsters we'll be summoning from the main deck and extra deck are light attribute monsters. For the extra deck, we're running 2 copies of the Xyz monsters, Starry Night. Needing 2 level 4 monsters, you can detach 1 material from this card, special summon 1 light monster from your hand. If this card is in your graveyard, except the turn was sent there, you can target 1 level 4 light fairy monster you control, special summon this card, and if you do, attach that monster to it as material. So not only is this just more of a resource to grab more light monsters onto the field from your hand, but being able to attach those cards to continue this resource as well, being able to target that light fairy you control, special summon this card, and then just have that card be attached right onto this card again to continue those plays. I also run the 1 copy of number 39 Utopia, the 1 Utopia the Lightning, along with the 1 Starliege Paladynamo, the 1 Bujinte Tsukuyomi, the 1 Exiton Knight for a good number of rank 4 light monsters, along with the 1 number 11 Big Eye. Just if you have to use your level 7 dragons for something, you have a rank 7 monster that can be used to take your opponent's cards, and the 1 Zeus is another, Xyz light monster to go into and not restrict when you have Goes and Match on the field. And then for the Link monsters, 1 copy of Hit Potion Engen, the 1 Lena the Light Charmer, the 1 SP Little Knight, the 1 IP Masquerena, the 1 Nightmare Unicorn, and the 1 Underworld Goddess of the Closed World to finish off our Link monsters and the extra deck. As for some of the go-to plays in the deck, as I said, our Starry Night monster setup is a big part of what the deck is meant to do. If you have your Starry Night Orbital, being able to target a light monster you control, tribute it, and set 1 Starry Night spell or trap directly from your deck, so you can tribute Orbital, setting that Starry Night Dragon spell or trap. So then with this card, you can grab your go-to Starry Night Balefire, add 1 Starry Night monster, 1 level 7 Light Dragon from your deck to your hand. If you control the monsters or your opponent controls a dark monster, you can special summon that card, so you can grab your Starry Night Dragon. Since you tributed the Orbital for this play, you can special summon out the Starry Night Starry Dragon, and then from there you have the bigger boss monster that can destroy a card of your opponent's field and swing twice into your opponent as well using that card, also restricting their dark attribute monsters because of that play. If you go for more of the control setup, let's say you have the setup as mentioned before with your go-to use of Ties of the Brethren, you can use your Rael as the normal summon, and then when this card is normal summoned, you can add 1 Starry Night spell trap from your deck to your hand. So then with this card, you can go for the additional search of cards like Starry Night Ceremony, and then add that card from your deck to your hand. You can then activate your Ties of the Brethren, paying the 2,000 life points to summon out your Barrier Statue of the Heavens and the Honest as well for those plays. You can then also use the Starry Night Ceremony, or the activation of this card, to then reveal an additional light monster, adding your go-to Starry Dragon to your hand as well. You have this card set up with your continuous spell for your opponent to then use. You can bounce back the Honest during the end phase as well. And then from there, use the spell on your opponent's turn to summon out your dragon, giving that additional destruction play. Since you can special summon, since it is a light monster, you have the Honest in the hand to use as a hand trap if your opponent does not go for the Honest play. You have the Light Fairy in hand to reveal for the first effect to add another level 7 light dragon off of this card also. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. This is definitely one of those forgotten type of decks for Yu-Gi-Oh! That was supported for a few sets after the Ghost from the Past booster set, but really haven't seen much else for it. But still, like to always update those obscure Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks just to see what you can do with them. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.